to Larry's Tips. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about how to keep your website visitors hooked and actually make them read the content that you're posting and not just be a visitor. So if you're interested, just keep watching. So whether you have an Instagram page or a weblog or a website, you have a number of visitors or a number of followers, and that number necessarily doesn't tell us if that page is a good or successful feed, or if that website is a successful one, or if your content is really good, because the amount of engagement that people have with your content is the thing that tells us if your content is really good. So for example, the amount of comments, the amount of shares, the people that send you DMs, those are the things that matter. Those are the things that we call engagement, not just the number of followers or the number of website visitors. So you have to keep your content so interesting and avoid your content from getting boring over time, that your website visitors or your followers actually read your content and go through it, the things that you're posting, because that is really important. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips on how to keep your website visitors or your page visitors hooked and keep them interested in the content that you're posting. So I'm talking about content that are text necessarily. So use headlines. Headlines are the most important things when you want to actually gather people's attentions when you're writing a text. So use prone headlines that fulfill a promise. I'm going to give you some sort of like formulas for headlines that actually promise to make your content more compelling or make like your audience get more attracted to the content that you're posting. So the first one that I've heard that works really well is blank steps to reach blank. So for example, the video that I'm doing right now is like 10 steps or like X amount of steps to make your website visitors hooked, or like 8 steps to make your tacos more delicious, or anything like that. So X amount of something, steps to reach a certain type of goal. That is one sort of headline. The second type of headline that I've heard that works really well is like something like this, like how to blanks, like how to do this or how to do that. And when you have a problem, or like when you have something in your head, when you see a document that says how to fix that problem, you're probably gonna read the rest of the document and see what it says. And another one is get this amount of result in this amount of time. So for example, get a slimmer waist in like 2 weeks, or get a good, like, I don't know, a good point in this kind of exam in like this amount of time. This kind of headline works really well as well. So after the headline, the part that people read if you track them to the headline is the intro. The intro is a really important part, and we have a specific method for it called the APP method, which is by Brian Dean, if I'm correct. This method is, first you agree with the problem that the audience has. For example, you own a business that you're selling something, or you're giving a service to your customers. First of all, you have to agree with your customers or your audience that they have this problem, and say, we know that you're dealing with this trouble, or we know that you have this kind of obstacle in your way. After that, you can offer them the solution, which is the product that you're selling or the service that you're giving. So make it short and to the point, and that way when you empathize with people and tell them that we know you have this problem, they feel closer to you, and they actually might use the product that you're selling or the service that you're giving them. As adults, we're usually really lazy, and even if a content of a page or a text is really useful to us, we might not really want to read it till the end. And we just skim through the text, get the concept, and we move on to the next one. So a tip that I have if you want to keep your website visitors hooked is you turn your skimmers, the people who already visit your page, and skim through your content into actual readers. So statistics show that 43% of people who visit a website only skim through the content and don't actually read it. So if you turn that 43% into readers, it might be a really big step for you. And I'm going to share some tips with you on how to do that. And one tip is use short sentences and short paragraphs, because if you put a long paragraph in front of someone, they're not going to read it all through and they're just going to skim through it again. So if you keep it short, they might read it till the end. Another thing that I have is use images and like charts to explain something that might be a little bit more complicated. So add images to your text that you have, or graphics. Use charts to explain something that might be really hard, because those have short words and they're really easier to read. And you should section your text and section it into smaller sections. As I said, it's going to help people who are skimmers get hooked a lot easier to the text. And subheadings. Subheadings are really important. So if you're talking about something, section it into smaller sections. Make small subheads with really compelling titles so people get engaged more and they start reading the text all the way through. And for example, if you have a 300-word text, subhead it into smaller sections so it'll be easier and more compelling for someone to read. So I'm going to talk about subheadings and how can you make a better subhead to separate your text into smaller parts. So the first tip that I have is make a subhead curiosity building. So put something in that subhead that intrigues people's curiosity. So they will, I'm so sorry about the background noise. There's construction going on, but I'm going to continue with the video. Don't mind that. So if you put something in your subhead that intrigues people's curiosity and make them think, oh my God, I want to know what that text is about, or what can that be, it'll be so much better and people will like to read the rest of your text more. Another thing is avoid using a boring label or boring subhead. I'm going to give you an example. For example, you want to say bonding with your new puppy. That is the subhead that you want to use. You can change that into 3 fast ways to get your puppy to see you as his pack leader. So you can turn a boring subject into something more interesting, and it'll be more compelling and make people read that text, make more people actually read the rest of the text. And another thing that I wanted to say is that use data, statistics, and references. People think that numbers can be boring, and that is true. Numbers and data can be boring, but people also love facts. So people want to know the truth. When you tell them something that is true and you prove it with numbers and data, they're more likely to believe you and read and believe everything else that you said in that text. So use a certain amount of percentages, certain amount of percentages or numbers in your text, and that will help people believe you more or trust you more and trust the product or that you're selling or the service that you are giving them. So you probably are, when you start your blog or your page, you have something in your head that you want to share with people, and it's a specific subject. But realize that you can change that over time, and it necessarily doesn't have to be the thing that you started it with. So when you see people engage with a certain type of content in your page more, focus on that and try to increase that type of content and focus on that area, put your time on that type of content and make that one more, because obviously people like that content in your page more. And another tip that I have is use interactive elements, I'm sorry about the background noise again, use tweets, use quotes, use questionnaires or videos in your blog posts, because those make it so much more interesting and make people interact. Ask them questions in the middle of the text, ask them if they've experienced something, ask them to leave you comments, and that will make them feel like they are engaging with the content that you're producing, and obviously it will help your page a lot more. So to sum everything up, the average human attention span is 8 seconds. So you have golden 8 seconds to capture your audience's attention so they read everything, the content that you've written. So I'm going to say you use all of these tips that I've given you and everything else that you can find online, or the knowledge of someone who has already done this, and use their experience and make your sorry again about the background noise, but make your audience really hooked on your website. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you soon. Leave everything that you want, or any experience that you have, or any stories that you want to share down in the comments. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel. See you soon. Bye.